21st time, it's the intercity doubleheader. Hi, I'm Art Kimball along with Steve Mays. Our first game tonight, the Bloomington Purple Raiders and the Normal Community Ironmen. And Steve, this is a great traditional battle, but the Raiders have had the better part of it the last 6 times. But this series, over the term of the intercity doubleheader, is tied at 10 wins apiece. Preparing to kick off for Normal Community will be Jason Higgins, and of course Higgins is the leading scorer on this Ironman team right now. He has all 3 points. He boomed the 3-pointer home against Urbana with 13 seconds left to go in the first half last week, and that was the deciding blow in that ball game. Raiders to receive back deep. Number 12 is Shea Hensley, and see who's back there with him. He's kind of the short man. Number 3 is Shea Caldwell, and number 2, J.D. Curry. Number 22, Marcus Sorrell. So the Raiders have some speed. There's no question about that. Higgins to kick it off. Settle back. Game 1 of the intercity doubleheader. The big guys going at it. The Ironmen and the Purple Raiders. Art Kimball and Steve Mays with you. High atop Hancock Stadium. Everything marked for play.
It's a very unique lineup here on the kickoff by Normal Community. You got 4 rows of stack, and that's a unique setting.
Like a stack offense in basketball.
That's right.
High, end-over-end kick, drifting back, and taken by Sorrell. Sorrell across the 15 to the 20, and he was buried at the 20-yard line on a great downfield tackle on the kickoff by Mike Wilson. Wilson hit him with everything for the kitchen sink and pulls him down, so the ball goes over to Bloomington at the 20-yard line. Nice kickoff coverage by NCHS.
Good start for Normal.
So the Raiders take over on their own 20. Well, you may recall what happened the first play from scrimmage last year.
Yeah.
In about the same position on the playing field, maybe up a little bit. Billy Dickin hit Marcus Mosley for a touchdown bomb. They would like to duplicate that, but I don't think we're going to see that tonight. Stevens gives off to Josh Eddings. Big hole. 30, 35, 36, 38-yard line, maybe all the way to the 40-yard line. Josh Eddings on the first carry really accelerates and goes for almost 20 yards. In fact, they're going to say exactly 20. There's your Raider offense. Offensive line, of course, that's the key. We'll take a look at the weights a bit later. Good, solid football team, the Raiders, and some very familiar names. Bloomington in the offensive line. Good size. Averaging 237, working on a normal defensive line, averages 226. So no shrinking violets on either side. No. Brian Stevens to Josh Eddings again. And Eddings brings the ball out to the 45. Did you say Rigo Schmelzer picked up a little bit of the Terry McCombs offense, Steve?
Like he said in the paper, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I'll tell you, you know, they have had an explosive offense, so stick with it. That's the NCHS defense for you. A lot of the ball players from Normal Community go both ways, and so do many of the Bloomington players. 2nd down and 5, Raiders at their own 45-yard line. Brian Stevens under center. Here's Stevens on the quarterback keeper, comes to the midfield, into Normal Community territory, inside the 45, down to about the 43. Lost the football, but they're going to say after the whistle. Give the NCHS tackle primarily to number 14, Ryan Smith. Smith came over and made the primary hit on the play. So it's a 1st down for the Raiders, 2 in a row. And kind of impressive thus far. That big offensive line is unbelievable. They really create a lot of holes for Bloomington High School.
Out over the football for the Purple Raiders is Tom Schau. He only goes 6'5", 248. Here's the give to Eddings. Eddings 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, down to the 1-yard line where Josh Eddings is knocked out of bounds. Going to see it again. Beautiful sustained drive by the Purple Raiders. It's been on the ground throughout.
Great run again here by Josh Eddings, and you'll see Greg Boitnott come from way atop the screen right there, number 41, into your picture, and is lucky that he gets Josh Eddings out at about the half-foot line, really.
Yeah, it's inside the 1. 1st and goal, Bloomington. Out over the pigskin. Tom Schau. Ryan Schau with that 1 guard next to him. Zimmer at the tackle on the left side. Eddings the up back in the I formation. Brian Stevens, quarterback sneaks for the touchdown. Call it a 1-yarder. And Bloomington quickly is on the board with 10:18 left to go in the game's first quarter. The Raiders on a sustained drive, and it was a beauty. 80-yard drive to make it 6-0. And it was just a matter of excellent execution, fine offensive line play. On to attempt the conversion is Todd Roseborough, the son of the offensive coordinator for the Purple Raiders. Todd is 6'4", a 198-pounder, a senior, member of the Bloomington tennis team, and a good one. Kick is on the way. It is good. And so Bloomington jumps on top by a score of 7-0. 80-yard drive in 5 plays for the score for BHS. Took 42 seconds, 1:42 officially, 1:42 the time on the drive. Raiders lead 7-0. We'll be back in just a moment. Eddings primarily doing the ball carrying. What did he have, 67 yards?
67 yards on only 3 carries, yeah. So a little over a 22-yard average.
Interesting, the orientation at Bloomington a couple of years ago was tailback orientation with Jermaine Ware plus the throwing of Billy Dickin. Last year was primarily Dickin to Mosley. Now they seem to be going back to the fullback orientation with Josh Eddings, at least based on what we've seen so far. And we got a 7-0 football game as the Raiders prepare to kick off. So before the fans are even comfortably settled in their seats here, as in the past few campaigns, the Raiders lead it by a score of 7-0. Ironmen need to bounce back. Coming forward, Todd Roseborough's deep end over end kick. The ball fielded by Greg Boitnott, a yard deep in the end zone. After the 10, at the 15, Boitnott 20, up to the 25-yard line. Nice return by Boitnott, actually of about 26 yards. He brought it out of the end zone. On the offensive line, backfield first, Baker, Boitnott, Williams. In the slot, Zigmont. Then up front, you see Spencer Antonio, Poole, Brady, Dorley in their starting offensive combination out here this evening. 7-0 Purple Raiders, normal community with the football at the 25. So they start 5 yards better field position-wise, Steve, than did BHS, although it didn't make a lot of difference with the Raiders.
No, sir.
Straight ahead dive by the Ironmen for short yardage. Carrying the football was Toby Williams. Chacoin, one of the defensive ends. There you see the linebacking core. The AP is for Apache. He, in other words, is the rover. He's the guy who can go just about anywhere he wants to in defensive alignment for Bloomington. Bloomington gives you a 3-man look, and then they will slide up with their defensive end. Chacoin on one side and Ronnie Paul on the other. Baker, quick pitch out this time to Boitnott. Boitnott finds a little yardage, comes to the 30-yard line. Nice job by Greg Boitnott as he kind of staggered as he got that pitch, Steve. But came back against the grain and moved to, within about 5 yards of the first down. The tackle engineered by linebacker Andy Adams. Adams, a 16-year-old junior, 6'1", 188. They keep coming over there, don't they?
They sure do. I don't know where they get all these athletes. It's great to see.
Rigo Schmelzer pacing in front of the Bloomington bench down below us. This is his second game as the Purple Raider head coach. He won his first one big. Hand off to Toby Williams, went nowhere, in to bury him on the play. A fine defensive job by Ryan Schau. Almost a surefire all-state tackle, and why not? He can play the game. He also is 6'5", a 285-pound senior. Defensive line for Bloomington. How big is it, you ask? 241 pounds per man, we respond. The linebackers are a comparatively svelte 190. The offensive backs, little guys, 183. The DBs even smaller, 174. But operating behind that beef thrust up front, it makes little difference. Well, the Ironmen have to punt. 1, 2, 3 and out in their first series. Snap to Baker, and the junior gets the kick away. Brent Baker. Ball bounds away, loose football, and is finally down at the 47-yard line. Ball took a funny spin on the AstroTurf, and so now the Raiders have great field position. Boy, you hate to give the ball to Bloomington if you're normal community in advance of their own 45-yard line.
Well, we'll see what Mr. Stevens can do here. Their second possession. Very successful there. About 2 minutes elapsed time, took it into the end zone, and Brian's showing a lot of confidence for only a second game.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell on that first drive, Steve, if they were doing a lot of trap blocking or not. But the way the holes opened up, I have to think that there were a couple of traps which worked very effectively. The Raiders lead at 7-0. They have the football with 8:12 to go in the quarter out at their own 40, let's call it their own 48-yard line. Brian Stevens reaches in, Schau at the center position. He takes the snap, he gives through, and this is Barr for short yardage. Jason Barr, a senior 5'8", 167-pounder. He banged up a shoulder at Rantoul, but is back out there playing tonight. He's the number 2 fullback to Eddings. And actually, going into the opener, they were dead even. And I think probably that Rigo Schmelzer likes that situation where he has fullbacks he can alternate. On a cold, muddy, lousy night, poor playing field, it's nice to have a couple of fullbacks.
You bet it is. Really important position in their offense.
Second down 8 from midfield. Brian Stevens Stevens whirls, has the ball off to Curry, and he is stacked up after a short gain. J.D. Curry down at about the 48-yard line. Normal Community reading it pretty well. At the bottom of the pile for the Ironmen, C.J. Kramer, who played ever so well last week against Urbana. Bloomington has Urbana next week at Urbana. Normal Community goes to Champaign to play Champaign Central next week. Well, big play here. Psychologically, a big play for the Ironmen. It's 3rd and 6. See if Brian Stevens puts it up. Split receiver is Ronnie Paul, potentially out to the right side. Dropping back to throw. Looking to Stevens. He's going to run the football. Jukes outside and is knocked out of bounds. He may have gotten the first down. He's at the 40-yard line, and I think he picked up enough.
Yes, he did. Excellent scrambling ability by Brian Stevens. Really nobody open. It was a two-man route to the right side. Nobody open. He took it and got the first down by 2.
Who is this man, Brian Stevens, you ask? All you've heard is Billy Dickin, this, Billy Dickin, that for the last 2 years. Brian's a guy waiting in the wing. 6'1", a 184-pounder. He's a senior. Completed 6 of 11 passes last week for 149 yards and threw for a couple of touchdowns. So the football rests at the 40. First down, Bloomington. This is their 3rd or 4th first down already. They give this time to Jason Barr. Barr's knee went down at the 38-yard line, and the head linesman did indeed pick it up. Doug Rosenbaum said, you're not going to fool me, kid.
No,
my knee went down several times. Second down at 8.
Well, it looks like Normal Community made a couple of adjustments there on the interior part of their defense. They've shut them down here this second series.
Zygmunt number 33 and Toby Williams number 15, the linebackers. Ironmen are up now on kind of a 5, basically kind of an offset 5. Here's Curry. Curry bounces outside of the 35-yard line, knocked out of bounds at about the 30. Don't think he got up to the 29-yard line. Jeff Zygmunt rolled over and made the tackle. Zygmunt, fine player. 6', a 205-pounder. Plays that linebacking spot along with Toby Williams. But you've got to be able to stop the run if you're playing defensive football. And I know that's what's going through John McIntyre's mind right now. The Raiders have not thrown the ball as yet. They have it the first down again, this time at the Normal Community 30-yard line. 6:13 for the first quarter. Split receiver wide to the near side is Mike Knapsager from Bloomington. Remember him from basketball, Steve. Sophomore that Rich Gordon brought up. Good athlete.
Excellent athlete.
6'2", 178 pounds. Good rangy kid. I formation set. Barr, the up back in the eye, keeping the ball is Stevens. Looks to Curry, doesn't give it to him. Cuts to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, and Brian Stevens scrambles 20 yards for the touchdown. Make it 30. 30-yard run by Brian Stevens for the score.
We didn't get to see Brian Stevens last week. We didn't know how much speed he has. Here you'll see it's just a triple option. Brian Stevens pulls it from the dive man and decides to keep this one and takes it all the way for the 6 points to give Bloomington a 13-0 lead.
And Todd Roseborough is on to attempt the conversion. Kick is on the way by Roseborough. It is good. Timeout on the field. Bloomington rolling once again. The Purple Raiders lead it 14-0. Player down on the sideline is Brian Stevens for the Purple Raiders, but I have a hunch that's just a leg cramp they're working on the sideline. I didn't realize Stevens was that good a runner, Steve, but I did see their scrimmage. Their last controlled scrimmage, and Stevens broke one against the sophomores at Bloomington, who, by the way, are pretty good. You say, how did they do against the sophomores? The end of the first quarter, that's all they played them. The varsity had a 14-0 lead.
Oh, my.
So the sophomore kids aren't too bad at all.
Not too bad.
But Stevens, one of the 2 touchdowns was very similar to the one we just saw out here. This was a 30-yard touchdown scramble, and I said 20. How could I possibly? Cheating 10 yards. It was right after they made the first down at the 30, and, of course, in the next play. The drive, 6 plays, 52 yards, 2:07 on the drive. Todd Roseborough downfield to Toby Williams, bounces it, takes it at the goal line. Here's Toby coming upfield to the 10. Cuts to the 15, out to just about the 17 or 18-yard line where he's inundated by a sea of purple. Tackle for Bloomington went to number 49. He's not listed on our roster.
One more look here at the Brian Stevens touchdown. You'll see dive option. Well, they've run this play quite a few times tonight, and he just outruns the defense. There's nobody that touched him.
So the football goes over to the Ironmen, resting at their own 18-yard line. Yeah, it's been amazing how well they execute, and have for so many years, but particularly on the ground here tonight. Ball carrier is Brent Baker. Brent with a nice gain. It's the longest normal community gain of the evening. A pickup of about 9 yards. Nice job by Baker, option quarterback himself. And just about got the first down, moved out to the 27-yard line.
We were impressed with Brent Baker last week running the option against Urbana. They didn't get it into the end zone, but I thought he ran the offense very well.
The field completely in shadow here at Hancock Stadium. The stands on the far side, as you can see, in bright sunshine. 6 o'clock start. They start the doubleheader an hour earlier this year than they have in the past. Quick pitch to Greg Boitnott. Boitnott tries to get outside. Flags all over the place, and he can't get the corner turned. Ryan Shaw came over to make the stop. Let's see if we can see where all the laundry came from here. End zone shot. That's Boitnott. There's a clip, I believe. Well, or was it?
Looks like somebody had a hand on number 65, Ryan Shaw's jersey for Bloomington, and that's going to be a hold, I believe.
Bloomington defensive front. Defensive tackles are Tom Shaw and Ryan Shaw. Austin Zimmer on the nose. Jason Omar at one defensive end, and Rob Chacoin at the other defensive end. Now, let's see if that's the way they're lined up out here tonight. I believe it is. Chacoin goes to one side, and Omar to the other. Yeah, the lineup is that we gave it to. Oh, man.
Oh, my.
Man. Oh, goodness. Tremendous hits by Bloomington's Ryan Shaw on the NCHS ball carrier for a loss of yardage back to the 11-yard line. After the penalty, the 10-yarder for holding.
This is how you teach tackling. Right there. Helmet right between the numbers, and put him right on his back.
Yeah, then you slide that headgear right or left. You don't want to spear the kid, but that's linebacker play. And, of course, that was from a down lineman.
Yeah.
So
that was from a guy that goes 280, too.
Yeah, indeed. That's another part of the factor. Another part of the equation, as they say. Third down and a good 15 or 16 needed. Baker pitches out to Boitnott. Boitnott lowers his head 15, comes out to just about the 18 or 19-yard line. Greg Boitnott tried to get the corner turned, and he got a few yards, but then the Raiders reacted pretty well. And finally making the tackle for Bloomington was Josh Omar, the defensive end, the senior, 6'1", a 227-pounder. Josh has grown a little bit since last season.
Right. I'll tell you, if you're normal community, this might be a night that you're going to have to throw the football a little bit. I can't see them grinding the ball 80 yards on Bloomington's defense. They're going to have to put the ball in the air.
Well, that's been the problem the last couple of seasons for the Ironmen. They haven't done that very well. And here's a high pass from center out of the end zone for a safety. The snap from center sailed over Baker's head out of the end zone. And with 3:38 to go in the first quarter, you've got a safety.
Looks like an excellent snap. It's got a nice spiral on it, just about 6 feet too high.
Yeah, it's airborne.
That's right.
And suddenly the Raider lead is 16-0.
They ban. They can go anywhere they want to.
Bad snap out of punt formation. There you see the sideline, the Bloomington sideline. And of course, they have to be very, very pleased the way things have gone here in the first quarter. Normal will put it in play with a free kick. There you see our all-state manager, J.P. Young. He's been there longer than anybody on the coaching staff, I think. No, he really hasn't. He's in his senior year, but I'll tell you, go over to Bloomington, he's become a public relations director for him, too, anymore. He'll direct you to who you want to talk to and tell you what's going on. Good man, though. Okay, preparing to kick it off from placement is going to be Brent Baker. Well, the Ironmen have surrendered a drive of 80 yards, a drive of 52 yards, and now a safety. And John McIntyre has to be wondering what next. You know, in the last 6 ball games between these two, the last 3 in particular, Normal just needs to have something good happen. And it hasn't happened.
No, you're exactly right. I'll tell you, they just haven't been able to get a big play, a long, sustained drive. Bloomington has just dominated them, and you know, you just keep waiting for them to make something happen.
Well, Bloomington, no question about it, is one of the state's premier programs. And I think it's proven when Terry McCombs, a great coach, leaves, and his line coach, Rigo Smelzer, picks it up, and it doesn't appear they missed a beat.
No.
Baker comes forward high. Beautiful end-over-end kick into the wind. Ball is taken back on the 25-yard line, returned by Shea Caldwell, and he has dropped it just about the 38. Beautiful kick by Brent Baker of Normal Community. He got that ball up into the wind, and amazing distance.
It really was an excellent coverage by Mike Wilson, number 56, put a nice hit on the returner for Bloomington High School.
They marked the ball at the Raider 39-yard line with 3:33 to go in the quarter. Purple Raiders leading 16-0 here in the game's first quarter. Big number 77 out there, defensive tackle, is Rob Fork, for Normal Community is Doug Boitnott. Number 69 left next to him, Eddings on the carry. Number 69 for Normal Community is C.J. Kramer. Eddings for short yardage this time as he crept forward for a couple. Looked like Jeff Zigmont maybe filled the hole primarily with a hit helped out by number 51, who would be Doug Dorley, the defensive right end at 6'2", a 240-pounder. Normal defensive line, no shrinking violets, 226 average. 199 on the offensive line, but their backers a solid 201 with Zigmont and Williams.
For high school, that's big, Art, but they, against Bloomington, they just look small.
Here's the handoff. Stevens doesn't hand it off. Turns it upfield. Hit at the 45-yard line and inundated there. Normal Community that time boxed Brian Stevens in very well. They played the option play extremely well. Toby Williams, one of the reasons why he came up, helped out by Chris Antonio to make the tackle on the play. So it's going to be a third down at the 45-yard line. The wind at the back of the Purple Raiders, although the wind has died down considerably. Time we did our pregame, it was a gale out there. Third down and 4 for the Raiders. Brian Stevens reaches under center. Normal Community's going to jump offside, and they do, with abandon. In particular, C.J. Kramer.
Yes.
Well, that'll be enough to give the Raiders a first down. 5-yard penalty. We'll take it down up to midfield.
That's a penalty that'll drive John McIntyre nuts. You give him the first down right there.
You see the flag, Steve, and it's a gentle breeze now in comparison to what it was. Yeah, John is obviously a little bit frustrated over there, along with his Darryl Crouch and Jim Baker and other members of the staff. As well, you would be. But the Raiders have just been very impressive as usual. The ball's at midfield. They give it off this time to Curry. Curry bounces outside at midfield, down to the 45, spins up to the 42-yard line before he was stopped. Curry had 1 touchdown, 7 carries for 58 yards against Rantoul. He's a 5'9" guy, but Steve, this kid weighs 190.
That's right. And most of that weight looks like it's in his legs and hips. He's got a nice set of legs, and he's an excellent running back.
Offensive line for the Purple Raiders, those guards are Joe Hubley on one side, number 61. He's working at one guard position, and the other guard is Chad Brim, number 78. They're both newcomers to this Bloomington starting lineup. Both very capable. One of the Shaw, that's Ryan Shaw and Zimmer at the tackles. The Eddings, this time he stacked up. Virtually no gain on the play as Eddings was contained at the line of scrimmage, primarily by Zigmont, who filled the hole very nicely.
We've basically been calling Zigmont's name on every play. Playing one of those interior linebackers, he's going to make a lot of tackles for Normal Community.
He's one of the premier players in the state, I think.
I would agree. I would agree.
I felt he was a great one last year, and
yeah, he's 6 foot, 205, and he's got a little speed.
He didn't carry the ball much the other night against Urbana. They went with Boitnott primarily. Third down and 3. They give this time to Curry. Pinned down. There's Zigmont again. They're talking about a big league tackle, and short of the first down is Curry at the 42. This brings up a 4th down and 2 needed for the first down. A long 1, if you will. I think Rigo will go for it. I do.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it, with a 16-point lead.
Rich Kruger out on the sideline. Rich in his shorts, traditional.
That's right. Kind of like Darryl Crouch on the other side for Normal Community.
Late in the playoffs, Rich got out of those shorts last year. 4th down. Big play for the Ironmen defensively and for Bloomington offensively. Flag, and that's it. A whistle, a horn, a siren.
Or as the first quarter.
Or as they call it in some areas, a siren. That's the end of the first quarter. One period is history. At the end of the first quarter, Bloomington leads at 16-0. They haven't thrown the ball as yet in the ball game. Normal minus 11 yards, and of course the thing that really hurt Normal was that errant pass from center on the punting attempt, which goes into negative rushing yardage, unfortunately. But the Raiders have just been totally dominant thus far in the football game. We have all kinds of statisticians tonight. Jeff Bowers is helping us out. We've got Gary Walder helping us out along with WJBC. And
I'm keeping one or two stats over here. We got all kinds of stats.
You're keeping a couple. I'm just trying to find out who's got the ball.
That's right.
4th down at the 41-yard line. Bloomington in the purple, moving to your left. Going for the first down. The Ironmen trying to force the turnover. Here is a nice tackle. Good defensive job. They gave it to Curry, and he didn't make it as behind the line of scrimmage. Justin Nobling came up and made the biggest play of the ball game for the Ironmen.
That's right. We haven't seen this all night. Bloomington stopped for negative yardage. As you will see, J.D. Curry stacked up right here on the left side. Good play. Zigmont fills that hole. And
Nobling came up and made a tackle.
Exactly.
Well, the Ironmen trailing 16-0. Trying to mount a little offense against the Bloomington defense that has allowed 6 points so far on the football season. 6 points through 5 quarters. Here is Zigmont. Zigmont powers to the 46-yard line. Got himself a yard or two on the play. Leading it for the tackle went to Josh Eddings from Bloomington. Leading the play was C.J. Kramer. Kramer plays a lot of football for this Normal Community Ball Club.
Really does.
And Zigmont is down on the field. Not for long.
Lost a wheel, I think.
Fine wrestler the kid is.
But for this game, you guys got to stay over there if you go over there.
Okay, all over the football at the center for Normal Community. It's like Doug Dorley playing center right now for Normal. I guess he is. The keeping the ball is Baker, and Baker slashes his way close to midfield. May have gotten to the 50-yard line before being pinned down. Chacoin with the tackle for the Raiders, helped out by Josh Eddings. Chacoin, another kid that's a wrestler as well as a football player. 18-year-old senior, 6'4", 202-pounder. Played in a reserve role last year for the Raiders and played quite a bit. 3rd down for Normal and 5. Third and 5 at midfield. Well, the first fake didn't fool anybody. And Josh Eddings filled the hole nicely and stacked up Williams. And trying to lead the play for Normal was Doug Boitnott.
He was assisted by Jason Barr, number 18 for Bloomington. Jason's only 5'8", 167, but he really put a hit on him.
John McIntyre has made some changes in that offensive line, or Darrell Crouch probably has made the changes. But now to snap it on punts is going to be Chris Antonio. I don't think Antonio was the punt snapper the first time around. It's a 4th down and 4. Off the AstroTurf, Baker fields it with the wind, punts it nicely downfield, taken here by Shea Caldwell, who fair caught the ball at the 13-yard line, so it goes over there to the Purple Raiders. But Normal Community did a pretty good job defensively the last time out, and NCHS staff, maybe an adjustment or two, Steve, may seal off this ground game a little bit.
That's right, and this was by far the worst field position that Bloomington's had to start a series with as they start this series from about their 13.
Stevens last week threw the ball 11 times against Rantoul, completed 6 for 149 yards and 2 TDs. He has not put it up as yet tonight. First down at the 13-yard line for the Raiders. They lead 16-0. We're in the second period of play. Brian Stevens fakes to Jason Barr. Quick pitch out this time to Curry, and he is buried for a loss back at the 9-yard line. And again, it's Justin Nobling up with a hit. 2 big tackles in a row by Justin Nobling for Normal Community.
Do you think he was reading option right here or what? Oh, my.
Boom.
J.D. Curry's wondering what hit him right there. That was a great tackle.
So it's a loss of 3 yards. 2nd down, 13 for the Raiders. Just underway in the game's second period. An I formation for Bloomington with split receiver to the right side, split receiver left side. Jason Barr carries, and Zigmont grabs him at the 10-yard line, made the tackle. Zigmont helped out by Toby Williams. This is the NCHS defense we saw last week against Urbana, Steve.
That's right, especially the run defense. I mean, you give John McIntyre opportunities to figure out what you're doing offensively. He's going to make adjustments, and he's done that here in the second quarter.
Kevin Ingles going to check in the Raider lineup, and he will come on for Mike Knapsager at a split-in position. Still got Zimmer at 1 tackle. At the other tackle position is Ryan Schau. Hubley is still at 1 guard. Tom Shaw still in there at center. Here, keeping the football is Stevens. Here's a quick pitch. Dangerous play and across the middle of the yardage. Kind of a desperation pitch by Brian Stevens. That may be a little bit of an experience thing as he threw the ball off to Curry, and Curry was well covered by Zygmunt. There's a flag on the play as well. The loss is back to the 9-yard line. I have to think, again, without looking at the tape, it'd be difficult to say for certain, Steve, but the first couple of drives, I think Bloomington really did some fine trap blocking on the normal interior and maybe on those two good linebackers. And now it appears the Ironmen have settled down a little bit defensively and are reading the situation a little better.
Exactly right. They came out in that 4-4 defense that John McIntyre likes. Here in the second quarter, we're seeing them mix it up, playing a little pro 4-3, a little 5-man front like you mentioned a little earlier. So he's mixing things up front.
Procedure call has been declined by Normal. Ironmen will take the football and standing back to punt it away for the Purple Raiders is Shea Hensley for the first time. The snapper is Chad Brim. I think Brim might have been the, well, not Brim either. Well, as you saw what happened, the low pass from center, and Normal grabs the ball at the 19-yard line. Hensley had no chance. A low pass from center, almost blocked.
You'll see he does drop the snap right there, but this is an unbelievable play by Ryan Smith, number 14 from Normal Community, heads up to call a fair catch right there to prevent the ball from...
I didn't see that.
Yes, he did.
Well, he got the ball. And of course, that's the rule. You can call a fair catch on a pop-up this year, which he did.
Exactly right.
Normal Community with the ball at the Bloomington 19. Well, the best position the Ironmen have had all night. Raiders must dig in. Gives to Baker to Boitnott. Greg Boitnott at the 20, at the 15, against the grain, down to the 10, down to the 9-yard line. And the NCHS defense has kind of fired their offense, it would appear. Gives the Raider tackle to Marcus Sorrell.
This is exactly what we saw last week against Urbana. Normal's offense sputtered about the first 2 or 3 series, and then Boitnott, Zygmunt, all those guys kick in here in the second and third series, and they're doing it again tonight.
John must give him a real inspiring pregame talk, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to talk to him about that.
Really sends him out of the locker room ready to go. Ball rests at the 10-yard line. Second down, less than a yard needed for a Normal Community first down. Here is the quick pitch to Boitnott. Boitnott is hemmed in. Nice defensive read by the Raiders, and you can credit the primary tackle. The guy who got there first and slowed up Boitnott has to go to Tom Shaw. A fumble, and the Raiders have the football. Chacoin has recovered as the ball popped free at the 11-yard line.
We were a little blocked out from this fumble. Weren't able to see it, and we'll get a good look at it on the ground camera here, end zone camera. As Boitnott, there that ball is on the ground. Good hit by Mr. Shaw.
Well, Ryan and Tom Shaw have come to play tonight along with their running mates, veteran defensive linemen, veteran two-way lineman as far as that's concerned. So Normal, after getting a great break on the fair catch call and the partially blocked punt by Ryan Smith, they cough it right back to the Raiders, and Bloomington has the ball at its own 12-yard line. And busting the ball up is Barr across the 20-yard line. Jason Barr, hard running back, 5'8", a 167-pounder. He and Josh Eddings share the fullbacking, and of course with Eddings being a full-time middle linebacker, you know that Rigo Schmelzer likes to have that other fullback available.
It's nice to have 2 or 3 running backs, 2 or 3 fullbacks. Just keep platooning them in, and Rigo's doing that a lot tonight.
2 or 3 anything is nice to have.
Yes, sir.
Ball to the 20-yard line. Second down and a yard needed for the Raiders. Normal basically in a 4-man front as far as down linemen are concerned. Busing a stand-up defensive end on the left side, and the gain may be enough for the first down. I don't know. The penetration was across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. Host of Normal tacklers, Zygmunt, Antonio, Smith, all in the stop. And at the bottom of the pile was Kramer. Looks like a shade shy to me.
That's right. Big Chris Antonio, number 70, kind of had him hog-tied there. And as you can see the sticks across the field, he's a little bit short.
Third down. Not much needed. Third and a smidgen, right? Ball at the 21-yard line. Another one coming up for you. Central Catholic and U-High. Later this evening. Officials talking things over. The officiating crew again, Steve Helstab, the referee, the umpire, Mike Watson, head linesman Doug Rosenbaum, line judge Jay Janice, and the back judge Jim Braxick. Third and about a half a yard needed for the Raiders at their own 21-yard line. Brian Stevens. Here's an infraction against Normal Community, jumping offside. And the penalty is whistled against Tyler Harris, number 61. I think that's a bad rule, Steve. You know, no contact was made. The kid was back in plenty of time. But, of course, the rule now states if you move into that neutral zone, line up in the neutral zone, or move into the neutral zone even before the ball is snapped, it's an infraction.
That's right. It doesn't matter. I wish they would go back to the old rule that you could, you know, mess around, go across the line. As long as you don't hit anybody or you're back on your side of the line of scrimmage, it's not a penalty.
It used to be fun to see 280-pound linemen trying to dance back into position, too. You saw some great dance routines. First down for the Raiders. Brian Stevens, he pitches it out. Here's a flag. Got the ball to Curry. Curry fumbles it. Got it back. Lost it, I believe, at about the 24. But remember, there are flags all over the place. J.D. Curry had the football, lost it. I think he got it back in the wrestling match. I think the Raiders retained possession. Apparently they did. Going to see it again.
Here's the play as you see Stevens keep the football. And I'm not sure what happened. We may see an illegal crackback block there on Bloomington on the option on the outside.
Penalty, I think, is against the Raiders. The ball is resting at the 24-yard line right now. In for Bloomington comes Mike Knapziger.
Good look at Ronnie Paul, number 6 for Bloomington High School.
One of our telecasts this fall, Steve, is the Bloomington-Bolingbrook game in a couple of weeks. Holding was the call. What a battle that should be. Bolingbrook, supposedly one of the better clubs in the suburbs, with a quarterback. Big story on him in the Tribune today. A kid named Williams, who may be one of the premier runners in the state as a QB.
Huh.
They'll water down Fred Carlton Field that week, won't they?
Yeah, you bet.
I would.
That grass will be about 12 inches tall. I'll guarantee you that.
Rigo wouldn't do that.
No, heck no. Those things don't happen anymore.
Ball's down the 14-yard line. First down and about 21 needed for the first down. First pass of the evening. Brian Stevens looking. He's throwing for Knapziger, overthrew it. Pretty good coverage from Normal Community. Baker was back there, also Boitnott. So it's a second down, 21 situation. Where have all the passes gone all of a sudden, huh?
I'll tell you, it's a nice night to throw. Stevens throwing into a little bit of a breeze, but he just overshot his receiver, Mike Knapziger. And now they'll be faced with second and a long way to go.
Well, Normal Community probably blew a golden scoring opportunity when they fumbled after getting the ball back on the 21-yard line. They gave up 2 points on an errant pass from center for a safety. So they've been their own worst enemy to a degree. The 2 touchdown drives for Bloomington, however, were both legitimate and earned. No question about that. Here is Brian Stevens. Stevens rolls it right. Brian cuts off the outside at the 20 and has dropped the 21-yard line. Nice looking little QB. Brian Stevens slides up to the 21-yard line.
Stevens puts a lot of pressure on that defense once he makes that ball fake that, you know, he can take that ball himself, and this time he does. And, boy, he puts a lot of pressure on the outside defense.
And a pretty good delay block by Ryan Shaw out there at right tackle. He managed to maintain the Normal defender who eventually got the tackle, but still, he made it possible for Stevens to score him for that yardage. It's third down now, and third and 16 for the Purple Raiders. The ball resting on their own 20-yard line. We're in the second quarter with 4:26 left to go in the half. Normal Community with a 4-man front. Brian Stevens drops straight back, looking. Brian fires downfield, deep, incomplete. Again, the intended receiver was Knapziger. Pretty good Normal Community coverage by Ryan Smith. A 1-and-1 situation as Brian Stevens tried to go deep. This brings up a fourth down. About 16 needed, and we'll bring on the punter, Hensley, once again. The Bloomington kicking game hasn't exactly been gangbusters.
No, it hasn't.
First punt was partially blocked. Hensley standing back at his own 6-yard line, 7-yard line, will hit it from just about the 10. Ball is snapped. High, end-over-end kick. Fair catch call for by the Ironmen. Taken at the 46-yard line by Baker. Baker gathers it in at the 46. There's Rigo on the sideline, the blue shirt there. Longtime Terry McComb's assistant. His club leads at 16-0. Normal Community with the football in Bloomington territory at the 46-yard line with 4:10 to go in the half. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see John McIntyre put the ball in the air a little bit here now.
Nope.
Good field position.
Ryan Smith, number 14, in at quarterback for Normal Community. Good thrower. Let's see if he can throw the football a little bit.
Yeah, Smith has replaced Baker at quarterback for Normal Community. The ball at the 46. Here's the quick pitch to Boyd. Now it's a reverse to Baker. Baker was in a wingback position. There's going to be a flag on the play. I think we're going to have a clip call. Baker moved the ball down to the 41-yard line. It may have been Ryan Smith after the handoff. May have gone down and cut down somebody on that reverse action. Well, we hadn't seen Baker in that flanker position, at least not last week. Of course, you can interesting possibilities off of that. You can throw off of that and everything else.
Exactly. John McIntyre just likes to have Baker on the field. If he's not playing quarterback, he's going to put him somewhere. A little running back maybe. This time he puts him at wide receiver. And he picked up a lot of yardage there on the reverse, but Normal's flagged for holding, and that'll go back 10 yards.
It was not a clip. It was a hold, as it turns out. The damage is not quite as bad with a hold. 10 yards instead of 15. Penalty back to the 44-yard line, where it's now a 1st and 20. 1st and 20 Ironmen. Ryan Smith to Toby Williams. He just hammers straight ahead, got about 3. Not much more than that as they stacked him up on the inside. Bottom of the pile for Normal Community is Toby Williams, and there with him is Kramer. They were the offensive players leading the charge. 2nd down. 18 yards needed for the first down. 17 to 18. 3 minutes and 22 seconds to go in what has been a scoreless second quarter. At halftime, right now we're looking at a 16-0 score as we approach halftime. Raiders smell that coming. Smith got off from under center, but no room at all, and then he is inundated by Raiders.
Excellent line surge by Bloomington's defensive line. Got upfield 4 or 5 yards, and Ryan Smith had nowhere to go but to the ground.
So it's a 3rd down, 21 for Normal Community. They have been pushed all the way back to their own 43-yard line. Ryan Smith, the senior veteran at quarterback, gives it off on draw action to Boyd, not hit behind the line of scrimmage. Lucky to get back to the 43-yard line. He bounced off of Eddings, bounced off Austin Zimmer a little bit, but then finally pinning him down for Bloomington was Andy Adams. This brings up a 4th down. Let's call it 4th and 20. Got about a yard on the play. And standing back to punt for Normal Community will be Brent Baker. Baker, and the snapper continues to be Chris Antonio. They made a change at that center position on the long snapper. Here's a low, not a good kick at all, and return the football for the Purple Raiders is going to be Ronnie Paul with a flag on the play. Paul breaks the midfield all the way down to the 45. The ball rolls loose out of bounds at about the 43. I think Bloomington got right back on it over there. But we have a flag back here at the 27-yard line. Flag thrown at the 27. Now let's see what the officials are going to come up with here. I think the Raiders got back on the football at the Normal Community 43.
I think they did, or either that or it went out of bounds and Normal was not able to get the football. But they're talking to Normal, so this penalty is going to go against Bloomington High School.
And this is the clip. There's the clip call on the return.
We'll get a chance to look at this one again. Brent Baker, real low, spiraling punt, and Ronnie Paul wisely picks that one up and goes against the grain. You can see his line forming there to the left, but Ronnie elects to go to the right. And Mr. Baker is forced to...
Bloomington got back on it. I think it was Josh Eddings, it looked like. A 20 number in the 20 series. I thought it was 21. At least diving for the ball. There's a goodly portion of the crowd here at Hancock Stadium tonight. Well, after the walk-off, of course, that foul is marked off from the point of the infraction, so they haven't walked it off yet. Point of the infraction was the 27-yard line. That's where the flag was thrown. This is a 15-yarder, so they didn't walk off 15, did they?
No, they didn't. And I'm wondering, I think the chains on the other side.
They walked off 11, so that must not have quite been the point of infraction where the flag was. The point of the infraction must have occurred upfield a little bit. So it's a first down for Bloomington back at their own 16-yard line with 1:32 to go in the half.
There they go with a few more yards, Art. Boy, you are on top of this game, I'll tell you.
Well, I thought that was the rule.
That's right, 15 yards.
So the penalty takes it back from the 16 to the 13. Big deal, you say, 3 yards. But you never know. Brian Stevens reaches in at QB. See what the Raiders do in the final few ticks in the first half. Stevens off to Curry. J.D. tries to swing outside. Got to the 15, across the 15, up to about the 17-yard line. Zygmunt was there, but also in on the tackle was Brad Busing. Busing, a nice-looking junior. Number 91 for Normal Community, 6'2", 215-pounder. Can play some tight end for you. Can also play a lot of linebacker, a lot of defensive end. Under a minute. Raiders have the football, resting at their own 17-yard line. Second down. And about 7. Stevens to Caldwell. Caldwell, big hole, bounces that, got to the 25, then backpedaled and was drilled actually at the 19-yard line by Boitnott and Baker. Let's see where they give him the advance. He had the first down, did he not?
Sure looked like it, and then he made the cut to the left, and he came up about 2 yards short.
Third down for the Raiders. They need a couple at the 21-yard line. Clock still rolling, down to 24 seconds to play in the first half. Bloomington leading by a score of 16-0 here at Hancock Stadium. Game 1 of the intercity doubleheader before a big, big crowd out here on the second Friday night of the 1993 football season. Art Kimball and Steve Mays, pleasure to be with you. Hope you're enjoying the replay of this prep action. Brian Stevens gives to Eddings, and Josh is stuck pretty good. He may have twisted forward for the first down. Nice tackle by Jeff Zygmunt. Makes no difference. That's it. The first half is history. So after kind of a bizarre first quarter, very bizarre as far as the Ironmen were concerned,
the ball carrier. Very Boyd off the ball carrier. By Tyler. Brian Stevens, the ball carrier. Tackle made by.
Ball.
Fumble on the play, recorded by Normal Community. Baker's pass. Ben Baker's punt. Ben Baker, the ball carrier. Running point. J.D. Curry, ball carrier.
Ball, get on the ball.
Ball is Kay Caldwell, the ball carrier. Zigmund. Brent Baker on the return, so on by Barrett. Greg Boynton, ball carrier. Now Baker is off track to pass.
I'll tell you, I was real fortunate when I played out here as punter for Illinois State that I had Mark Rodenhauser as my snapper, and probably one of the best snappers in the country. He went on to play for the Bears and the Vikings, but I never had a bad snap by him. But we have, in the last couple of years, seen a lot of poor snaps.
Yeah. I think one problem you have is generally the guys snapping the football, long snappers, do not play center. And, of course, it's kind of a foreign situation to them. Sure, in the T formation, the toughest snap the guy has is a handoff, basically. But I don't know. I think I'd have my center be my snapper regardless.
Have him roll it back there or something.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough break because the Ironmen have given up now a total of 9 points. Ridiculously easy. Direct safety and a 1-yard drive. Roseboro kicks it off deep to Boynton at the 10. Here is Boynton 20. Hit and pulled down at the 27-yard line. Hog tying him with a good tackle over there for the Raiders was Zach Judd. 6'2", 173-pounder. Now we're going to see a high pass from center once again.
You see Mr. Baker there waiting, and oops, that one got over his head.
Chris Antonio has had a big ball game defensively, but bad snap from center. And I don't know if Chris made that first bad snap or not, but whoever did, it's just a skill that has to be worked on. Everybody makes mistakes in sports, though. You got to shake it off. Baker with a very dangerous pitch, but he got to Jeff Zigmund, and Zigmund bulldozes his way to the 40-yard line. Tell you one thing about Brent Baker, he's fearless, isn't he?
That's right. I love to see this. One bad play, just makes a bad play, comes right back and makes an unbelievable play. I can't believe he's able to get this pitch away. As you see Baker get laid out, and Zigmund picks up about 10 or 11.
I think Zigmund kind of hesitated waiting for the pitch, too.
He couldn't believe he was able to pitch it.
Yeah. Looked to me like he just hesitated a step or two, and as a result got the ball, and then turned it into something. First down, Ironmen. Raiders deploy defensively. Here is Baker. Baker to the 42-yard line. For Bloomington out there defensively now is Maurice Betts. He's a 15-year-old sophomore, 5'11", a 243-pounder. Getting some game experience, and in the middle of that defense, I don't think who the nose guard is. Betts is playing a defensive
42.
tackle on one side. On the other side, defensive tackle is freshman John Kopaski, number 73. He's 6', even a 248-pound freshman. Kopaski was the state junior high heavyweight wrestling champion the last couple of years. Fine athlete, and so Rigo Schmelzer is looking at some of his kids out there, some pretty talented kids. Kopaski and Betts, two of his defensive tackles right now. And we don't have identification on number 42, the kid playing on the nose. maybe you can check down the line with the PA guru, Larry Conley, who, of course, has been around Bloomington High School for a long, long time, and see, because the kid has played a good ball game. Third down situation, the ball resting at the 45. And Normal Community is going to take a timeout with 22 seconds to go in the quarter. It's the first timeout we've had taken in the ball game, I believe. Timeout here. Third down upcoming and 5 needed for the first down. We'll be back in just a moment. To Bloomington's Purple Raiders in the third period.
We were able to get identification on number 42, playing a little bit of nose tackle, little defensive tackle, Desmond Davis.
Okay.
Another one of those young studs that Bloomington has. He's a sophomore.
Desmond Davis. He's on the roster, too, and they must have just changed the number on him. Number 42, huh? Well, he got a good ball game. Dropping back to throw is Baker. Here's Brent running near sideline. Davis is after him, hits him. He throws the pass. Incomplete. Great try by Busing, but tremendous Bloomington coverage on the play as backpedaling defensively for the Purple Raiders was Marcus Sorrell.
Boy, Brad Busing almost brought that ball in. That was a great throw by Baker. Just about 2 inches too high, but almost made a big play. Once again, Normal, fourth down.
Yeah, had he made that catch, it would have brought the house down over here, but...
it's funny how one play like that can give an offense so much confidence.
Well, we now go to the fourth down situation in 5. Flag on the play. Baker gets off a high spiraling kick this trip. Fair catch called for and taken at the 18-yard line by Shea Caldwell.
That time, Jay Bershey, number 54, was the long snapper for Normal Community, so they did make a change on that punting situation.
Bershey was the snapper the other night against Urbana. And I don't know if he was the first one, the first snapper this evening, or whether Antonio started in that capacity, but that's an adjustment John McIntyre needs to make. And as I recall, he had trouble with that here last year, didn't he?
I can't really recall.
I can't either, but it's a problem, and of course, one of those little fundamentals in football that can get you in a world of hurt. Well, the flag was thrown. Penalty is obviously going to be against the Ironmen. Great punt by Baker. It was only offside penalty. Takes the ball back to the 40-yard line, 4th and 10. Baker will do it again, and Berchey's out over the football again.
I think Berchey is a little more accurate with his snaps, but Antonio had a little more zip on it. But Berchey seems to be pretty accurate so far.
Which I'd say is more important at the moment.
Yes, sir.
Getting the punt off is Baker. Again, a fair catch is called for, and it's taken about the 26-yard line by Shea Caldwell. So actually, they picked up 4 or 5 yards after the penalty. Bloomington takes over. 1 second to go in the third period. The Raiders have really done not a lot offensively since the first quarter. They scored once in this period after getting the ball on the 1-yard line, but
they have not been able to sustain a drive. Even in the second quarter, they didn't do a whole lot.
Okay, Bloomington breaks out of the huddle, leading 23-0. The ball rests on their own 26-yard line. This will be the last play, barring a penalty, of the third quarter. Game number 1 of the intercity doubleheader. Raiders trying to make it 7 straight wins over Normal Community. They give the ball off, and powering his way for the first down, and a lot more for Bloomington. The ball carrier was Shea Hensley, who moved all the way up to the 47 or 48-yard line. That's it. 3 periods of history here at Hancock Stadium. After 3, the Purple Raiders lead it by a score of 20. Chad Brim is at center right now for the Raiders, and has been for a goodly portion of the contest. The carrier is Hensley, and Hensley up to midfield. Some of the other players out there, David Johnson's number 66 for Bloomington right now. He's a 6-foot, 187-pounder. Get a look at some different linemen.
That's right. Normal Community is really keying on Stevens as you see him that fly to the outside, but Stevens gives the ball to the fullback,
Hensley.
And Shea Hensley does a nice job.
He's 6', 195. He's listed as one of the backup quarterbacks, but he's also the punter. This for last, you're going to play him a little fullback, I guess.
He's just an athlete.
Better be versatile. You want to play for this Bloomington club, haven't you?
Yeah.
You got to play a lot of places. Hensley gets the call again, and the whistle stop play. Tom Watterson is number 88. He's in a tight end position right now. Also out there for the Raiders is Tom Shaw. One thing that Rigo Schmelzer does, and Terry McCombs did the same thing. They substitute, but they don't do it wholesale. They leave a few regulars in there to retain some continuity. And here's a procedure call against Bloomington. Just as I say that, they get called for procedure. Not a lot of continuity on that play. Nevertheless, you know what I'm talking about. Penalty back to the 45-yard line. Raiders hit the road next week for a game at Urbana. We will have one of the classic games in the Corn Belt Conference next Friday night, Steve.
That's right.
U-High and Pontiac.
Pontiac rolls into town.
Here's the give as Hensley carries and is wrapped up by Jeff Zygmunt.
Well, you can tell Shea Hensley plays a little linebacker. He doesn't want to run away from anybody. He just runs right at people.
No, and Zygmunt was looking for a reversal there. He was looking for some wrestling points. He got him airborne. Second down situation for Bloomington at the Normal Community 48-yard line. We've only one scoring threat that amounted to anything in the entire, ever since the first quarter. And that, of course, was when that bad pass from center gave Bloomington the ball at the Normal Community 1-yard line, and they did put it in on the next play. Hensley again breaks it down to about the 43-yard line. Well, the Raiders are not showing a great deal right now.
No, sir. I think they've run the last 4 plays. They've just run it to Hensley on a dive play, and Normal's yet to stop it. So, hey, why not stick with it?
Fullback right, fullback left. J.D. Curry, number 2, is the tailback. Hensley is the up back in the I formation. Stevens is still in there at quarterback. You've got Paul, number 6, Ronnie Paul at the flanker position, actually. And he is now going to the split end, as in essence they're running a 2 tight end offense with a flanker to the left side, I formation. Watterson at 1 tight end position. The other one is Kevin Engel, and straight ahead, still moving, and moving for plenty of yardage, easily for the first down to the 32 is Hensley once again.
Same play.
Yep.
I mean, what more can you say that Hensley right, Hensley left, and they just run another dive to the right and pick up 10, 12 yards.
Well, I think Normal Community's a little tired out there, too, Steve. Their defense has been on the field quite a bit. It is a cool night, however, and Bloomington has some fresh linemen in. That coupled with the fact that you're banging heads with Tom Shaw out there and Ryan Shaw. Those two guys are side by side now on the right side of the Bloomington offensive line. That's where Hensley is running. Stevens back to throw. Going to have to scramble. Good pursuit. Shakes off 1. Looks downfield. Pass complete to the 1-yard line. Making the catch was Kevin Engel. Nice job by Brian Stevens. And Stevens was shaken up on the play a little bit. He's okay.
Kevin Engel does a great job as he'll line up way at the top of your screen on the left side, and Stevens is forced out of the pocket, and there comes Engel right across the field, stays with it, and stays in bounds.
Now, I could be corrected on this. He is not the brother of the Engel that plays for the University of Illinois, but I think he is the brother of the tight end last year, I believe, if I have my information correct, which I may or may not. Don't hold me to it. First and goal, 1-yard line. Raiders leading 23-0. Hensley gets the call. Flags stop the play. Hensley didn't get in anyway. Got down inside the 1-yard line, it would appear, but I have a feeling this is going to be procedure against the Purple Raiders. It is. 9:34 to go in a football game that has not been a real classic, frankly. Bloomington put 16 points on the board in the first quarter. We're given a gift touchdown back in the third period. And now, pretty nifty drive, keyed on that pass from Stevens down here to Engel. A pass play that covered, about 34, 35 yards down to the 1-yard line. Now they have the 5-yard procedure penalty. First and goal at the 6. Raiders in possession. Brian Stevens under center. To Hensley. Hensley hammers between right guard and right tackle. Got down to the 3-yard line. Justin Noblade made the tackle. Ball is resting at the 3. Second down upcoming. 3 yards needed for the touchdown for Bloomington. Brim out over the football. Chad Brim is a 16-year-old, 5'11", 232-pounder. The 2 Shows on the right side. Giving the ball Stevens, pitch to Curry. They string it out, but Curry turns the corner and jogs into the end zone for the touchdown. Once he got around Boitnott, there was no other run support. And Curry scores from 3 yards out with 8:48 to go in the ball game.
J.D. Curry shows why Rigo Smelzer is so high on him. He just has a lot of speed. And once he made that inside juke, as you'll see right here, there's a nice pitch from Stevens, inside juke, and he just races to the flag, and nobody's going to catch him.
Boitnott was the guy after him, and once he got around Greg, there was no support whatsoever. It was wide open for Curry, who can fly.
That's right. They ran the strong. I'll finish that thought in a second.
Single holes. Roseboro converts once again. And we have a 30-0 football game here at Hancock Stadium. The lead to the Bloomington Purple Raiders. We'll be back. Hang on to that thought, Steve. We'll be back in just a moment. Veteran head football coach. There's Rigo trying to look worried as he paces a little bit.
Yeah. Not too worried as they're up 30 to 0.
It's amazing. You figure Bloomington lost a prep All-American to Marcus Mosley, 2 All-Staters in addition to Mosley and Billy Dickin, and also Irby, and some other talented kids.
Corey Anders, who I thought probably could be one of the best defensive backs the inner city would ever see.
Corey Anders decided to play strictly basketball, didn't come out for football. Plus the coach leaves. Terry McCombs leaves. And they put on a performance like this. All right, there's the kickoff handle back here by Adrian Cooper, and Coop brings the ball to the 20-yard line before he stopped. First down at that juncture for Normal Community. Down to cover was Eric Vogel on the play.
It's somebody new every time on the special teams for Bloomington High School.
Eric was in on that stop. That's Steve Vogel's youngest son. Of course, Rob plays at the University of Illinois. Ball rests at the 21-yard line. First down situation. Eric is attired in a bandana here tonight under his helmet.
Color coordinated.
Yeah,
it is purple and white.
It is purple and white, isn't it? Ball to the 21-yard line. Baker's pass complete to Toby Williams. 30, 35, 40, 45-yard line, 46 or 47 before Toby was stopped. Nice job by Toby Williams, and for the Raiders, really didn't get the tackler. Maybe we can't hear.
No, we haven't heard much from Toby Williams. Just a little slant in right there, and Toby takes it up the gut for a big gain.
Yeah, Ronnie Paul was the player in pursuit and finally pulled down by Shea Caldwell, so it's a first down for the Ironmen. You know, John McIntyre may say, hey, we're not running the ball, let's throw it. 45-yard line. Brent Baker. Baker gives the ball to Toby Williams. And no, didn't give it to Toby. Faked to Toby. Yeah, he did give it to Toby. The action was away from the ball as the Raiders pursued. Desmond Davis got into a pretty good shoulder block with C.J. Kramer. That's what I was watching. The ball had been dead. That's an old lineman for you, right?
Exactly. Watching that line play.
Watching that extra hit after the ball had been dead. Second down and 10. Stick around. Upcoming, we'll have Central Catholic and University High School for you. Corn Belt Conference ball game. This, of course, is the Big 12 battle in the Big 12 West. And this year, the Big 12 West does not have an automatic qualification, automatic berth in the state playoffs. There's only 5 schools in the division due to Lincoln dropping out. That to be rectified when the second normal high school opens in 1995. Until that time, you will have to be, I would say, 6-3 at least to qualify.
Probably almost 7-2, I would think.
Out of the Big 12 West. 7 minutes and 5 seconds and counting in the ball game. 30-0 Bloomington. Brent Baker for the Ironmen, back to throw. Good protection, looking downfield for Nobling, overthrown, incomplete. And Marcus Sorrell covering. Sorrell, another youngster, came up through the system.
We do have a flag on the play, and I think this is going to be a late hit. Brent Baker was laid out on this one, and that's right, as Steve gives the signal for late hit.
Steve Helstab, the referee here this evening. And so this is a major penalty. 15-yarder against the Raiders. Takes the ball down to the 40-yard line. Bloomington going with Desmond Davis on the nose defensively. Down lineman now Rob O'Brien, who is a 6'even", 182-pounder, wearing number 75, getting some playing time. Chacoin stays out there. John Kapaski, the freshman, stays out there. Number 73 is Kapaski. This kid could be a great athlete before he gets out of Bloomington High School. I'll tell you, he's one of the premier wrestlers around right now. That's your middle three. the kiddie core in the middle of the Bloomington defensive line. First down, Normal Community, 38-yard line, Bloomington. Baker's pass incomplete for Busing. Brent Baker really didn't give Busing much of a chance there, did he?
I don't care who you put on the defensive field for Bloomington High School. These kids got a lot of pride, and they don't want to give up any points. You know, they may be called the second-team defense right here, but they don't want to give up any points at all.
Barry Rust out there defensively, number 20, the linebacking position. Andy Adams, the veteran, the starter, stays out there. He's not really a veteran. He wasn't a regular last year, but he's doing a whale of a job and is a regular this year. Also, it's Josh Omar still playing the defensive end on the left side. Second down from the 38-yard line. Baker gives off a little bit delay action. Didn't get them much. Kind of a side saddle draw, you might say. Davis made the tackle on the Normal Community ball carrier at the 38-yard line of scrimmage. So it's a third down now for NCHS, and they still need 10.
Believe that was the first carry of the game for Bo Kinsel.
Bo have it that trip?
I believe he did. Number 25.
25, 5'7", 135-pounder. Yep, Bo's the tailback now. It's a slot formation. Not really a double wing. They look for Nobling. Pass for Nobling is incomplete. The ball was there, and Justin dropped the ball at the 32-yard line. Ironmen do not appear to have a lot of confidence in the throwing game.
No. I'll tell you, and you got to be able to protect the quarterback, as number 44, Andy Adams, for Bloomington High School, came right up the gut and just laid Brent Baker out.
Well, I think the Ironmen, as the season progresses, will have that honed a little bit better and be able to use it. It looks like, based on what we've seen here tonight, that Baker is settled in as the quarterback, and Ryan Smith will be a defensive back. Now, Ryan took a few snaps at quarterback tonight, but Baker has been a QB. Here's a fake on fourth down. Snap to Boitnott. Boitnott got down to the 31-yard line, maybe the 30. It's short of the first down, but why not, right? You're down 30 to nothing. Right. Fourth down, fake out of fake punt formation.
We're going to see this again, and you got to keep an eye on number 33, Jeff Zigmont, right up the middle. Watch what he does to the Bloomington High player right there in the middle of your screen as you see him laying on his back.
There's Rigo Schmelzer on the sideline for the Raiders. They will take over at their own 31-yard line. Normal Community came up actually only about a yard and a half shy of the first down. It almost worked for them. 5:56 to go in the ball game. For the Raiders, well, we've got number 8 at a quarterback, and I don't have an identification on him either. So we'll let Steve Jewell run it again. New quarterback for Bloomington. Off to Curry, and Curry battles that Shea Caldwell up to the 32-yard line. Got out to the 32. John McIntyre on the sideline for Normal Community. 33-yard line, gain of a couple, 2nd and 8.
Number 8 is listed in our program as number 10, Jake Dixon, sophomore QB.
Jake is 15 years old, 5'11", a 175-pounder. Dixon has the ball off. Caldwell once again. He bangs across the 35 out to the 36-yard line. Well, you know, you take away 2 touchdowns as a result of bad center snaps. Take 14 points off the board. You still got that 16-0 football game.
That's right. It's a respectable game. I think even though Normal has given up 30 points, it has been a respectable game for him. John McIntyre's not going to be happy at the end of this game, don't get me wrong. But, you know, they've been competitive.
Well, his kids again have played good defense. Ball rested at the 36-yard line. Outside to Caldwell. Caldwell tries to turn the corner, and Normal swarms all over him. And I would think Mac is probably most unhappy with the offensive production of this ball club. Justin Nobling was in on the tackle over there, and it looks like Busey may have had the primary stop, helped out by Antonio. Because I know in the preseason, the general feeling was that Normal had some offensive weapons, and I think they still do. But they were held to 3 points last week by Urbana. But
I think they have 3 excellent running backs in Toby Williams, Zigmont, and Boitnott. I mean, they have 3 great running backs, and they just haven't been able to get anything on track the first 2 games.
Baker's a comer at quarterback. Got to keep in mind, this is only his 2nd game as a varsity player. And he didn't play all the way the other night on offense. He played all the way, going both ways. But kick goes out of bounds off Hensley's foot, and Normal Community will take over at its own 34-yard line. Inter-city doubleheader gets a lot of publicity and a lot of ballyhoo, and I oftentimes wish the other games got as much build-up as this inter-city affair does, but the fact remains it's still very early in the season. It's only game number 2. Coaches nor players nor fans should get too excited one way or the other with the outcome of this one.
That's exactly right. Didn't Normal struggle for the first part of last season, the first 3 or 4 games, and then came on and won 4 or 5 at the end of the season. So
the problem is now, this is what we stated, though, in their conference situation, you can't afford to struggle too much.
Right.
But they are going to come out of here 1-1, 3:37 left. It would take a miracle of monumental proportions to come up with 31 points and pull it out, being realist as we are, Mr. Mays.
Yes, sir.
Baker dropping straight back, looking, pass is almost intercepted. Making the defensive play for the Raiders was Andy Adams, the linebacker. Mr. Adams is a pretty active young man, isn't he?
He sure is. I like him.
He's been all over the place tonight.
Plays a little tight end as well as linebacker.
Second down, 10 situation. Raiders deploy defensively. Ironmen come out of the huddle. Nobling is split to the left side. Cooper flank right. Back to throw is Baker. Baker finds a little seam, runs, fires it out to Nobling, complete to the 41-yard line. Nice tackle engineered by the Raiders as Noah Tosh came over, number 5, to make the stop on the play. He was helped out by Jake Dixon. So it's a 3rd down and 4. 3rd and 4, the ball resting at the 40. Well, about the only thing we can criticize Rigo Schmelzer for tonight is having some bogus numbers on his roster.
We'll let him hear about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, outside of that, his team has played pretty well. Baker pushes the ball, snaps it back, pitches to Zygmunt. Zygmunt, 45 midfield. Jeff to the 45, all the way to the 41-yard line. Jeff Zygmunt, had he not lost his balance a couple of times, might have broken it. He was finally hauled down by Barry Rust, number 20.
Just gets tripped up here right at the end. Number 33 takes the pitch. Student body to the right. And, he just about breaks that one.
Checking in defensively now is Eric Vogel in the secondary. He's a 17-year-old senior, 5'7", a 146-pounder. Ball rests at the 40-yard line. First down situation. I hope his big brother Rob gets a little playing opportunity at Illinois this fall. Might be on the special teams. They ran Nobling in the backfield that trip, handed it to him, and he moves to the 39-yard line. Justin Nobling, a split receiver, looked to me like he lined up as a running.
Brent Baker, the ball carrier. Brent Baker fumbled the ball and recovered it. Jeff Zygmunt, the ball carrier. Zach Jed made the tackle. That's the end of the game. 30 now.
It all depends on the official way to tally up yards lost on errant center snaps out of punt formation. Now, we'll go along with what the general discussion has been up here, that's a separate category and will not be included in rushing, so there's the way the stats look for us. Bloomington had 13 first downs to 5 for Normal. The Raiders with 244 yards via rushing to 72 for Normal Community. Passing was dead even at 31 apiece. Total offense then, Bloomington 275 to Normal's 103, and each had 1 turnover. Now, if you take out the yardage that was lost by Normal on the bad center snaps, they end up with a rushing figure of 19 yards on the ball game. So I think, Steve, we need to mention that I'm not really certain exactly what the high school association, how they score something of that sort, where that loss of yardage is determined, or whether or not it's strictly a separate category. At any rate, we give you both ideas. Take whichever one you happen to like.
That's right. Our statistician, Jeff Bowers, assures me that you don't count that as negative rushing yardage. So,
well, he's a wrestling official.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's take a look at the rushing pace setters here. For the Raiders, it was Josh Eddings, had 6 carries for 73 yards, all in the first half. For Normal Community, Jeff Zigmont wound up being the top rusher with 5 for 42. Boyknot led with 15 at halftime, but didn't pick up anything in the second half. In fact, lost some yardage. So that's the story on the first ball game. Bloomington wins it by a score of 30-0. As you can see, the Saints and Pioneers limbering up for game number 2 of the doubleheader. We'll have that coming up for you very, very shortly. There's your final. Thanks to Steve Mays and our entire crew. We'll all be back with you in just a moment or two.